Good evening, and thank you for joining in to Know Your Purpose. We've been away for a little while, but we're back, and we're happy to be back. We're still running in our second season. We have our phenomenal guest today. I want you guys to get ready because he's going to be dropping a whole lot of jewels, a whole lot of nuggets. But before we do that, I have to do this disclaimer. So the views that we are sharing tonight are informative information of our own thought, our own opinion. We're bringing this to you to give you more accolades on what you can do and how you can support and what you can do and how you can find that support if you're going through anything that we're going to be discussing today. We have a community activist. A lot of you guys know him. He is he's one of my greatest. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm going to throw it out there. He's one of my greatest. He's an inspiration to me. I've been an inspiration to him ever since I've met him. He's just been one of those people, those I am people. On Know Your Purpose, we talk about those I am people and those support people that you can call on, those people that are in your corner, those people that support and do anything that you need to have done in any realm. Any realm. So I don't have that many I am people, but tonight we're going to bring you one of my favorite I am people. So without further ado, we're going to announce Dr. Reverend. Did y'all catch that? Dr. Reverend Marlon Tilghman. Thank you so much for coming today. Well, this evening. Juan's going to get me for that one.
Doc, it's all good.
It's all good. Yeah, we're relaxed on this show.
It's all good.
It is all good. And let me tell you, again, I want to congratulate you on stepping across the podium for your doctrine. I felt like I had some push there. I was like, come on, you can do this. You can do this.
Absolutely. You know, when you work with doctors, you get inspired.
But I tell you, listen, everything you've done since I've known you has been an inspiration, whether you had a hat on as doctor. But the best hat that I like is that friend.
Amen.
That's the best. That's the best hat that he's ever worn. I mean, it's okay to collect hats. I'm a collector. I'm a connoisseur of hats, but I like hats. But that best one called friend. People just don't know about that.
How about that? That's why I love the fact that Jesus calls me friend.
Yes. Listen, this guy right here, like I can go on all evening about how I feel about him. But one of the biggest things he does is this community activist piece that has been so near and dear to me. When he gave me the phone call and said what he was going to do, I've been on board ever since. Amen. And I have no look back. I'm staying. I'm full-fledged in everything that he's doing, and hopefully you guys will come and support us as well. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because I know who you are, but these viewers don't.
All right, so Reverend Dr. Marlon Tilghman, pastor Ames United Methodist Church right here in Hartford County, Maryland. I have been doing the work of community organizing and working with Bridge Maryland Incorporated now for a little over a decade, as we tried to reconstruct an organization that wanted to branch out and touch every avenue of lives in 4 areas. Bridge Maryland focuses on housing, education, criminal justice, as well as economics. And so that's our 4 areas of concentration. I'm sorry, education. Those are the 4 areas that we focus on. And I'm currently the criminal justice work group chair for Bridge Maryland, formerly the chair of the organization itself. But now I'm kind of focused on making sure that there's restorative justice for our community, particularly in the area of children's justice.
Yes.
In our community, which is where Doctor and I got engaged in the work that we do. So, yeah.
That work was hard work. People didn't know about that work, behind the scenes work. And one thing that we've done, if we stay consistent with it, a lot of things here with our juveniles have been so dear to me, because I feel like they got left behind.
Yeah.
They got left behind, not only in the criminal justice world, but the educational piece as well, the mentorship as well, in the church as well, if you would allow me to say that. And at home. Just being at home.
We were at a youth event when you and I met.
Yes. I am still very active in what goes on in the youth. Sometimes when you start adding things to your plate, you tend not, just because I'm not seen does not mean I'm not being heard.
Amen.
I had to learn that, Doc, that you being seen isn't what we need all the time. But when the paperwork comes across my desk and my signature goes on it to support good things like what you're doing, and sometimes you can't be in the midst of everything. I had to learn that too. So you have to pick the things that are precedent, and what you're doing is precedent. And not only that, is made a difference. So let's talk about a little bit about that. Let's talk about the legislation and how you worked on that and how we're going now.
So literally 3 years ago, almost to the day, I watched that docudrama.
Happy birthday.
What thing?
Yeah.
I watched the docudrama about When They See Us.
Yes.
By Duvernay, and I watched this documentary, and it literally impacted me because I was getting young adults asking me over and over again, Rev, have you seen this documentary? Have you seen this documentary? I'm like, if young adults are inspired by it, I need to
Yes.
find out what's going on. I watched this docudrama, and literally something in me says that's something we need to do, something we need to do to educate our community. And so I wanted to make sure I went on a campaign and inform the community that, you know what, your parents need to be present whenever you're in front of police or state's attorneys, whoever they are that might be prosecuting you. You need to make sure that they're there because that's your right. Only to find out in the state of Maryland,
there was no right.
There was no such right. There was
not
no
at
such
all.
right in the state.
I was very surprised.
Yeah, exactly. And matter of fact, I think we researched it for almost 2 months.
2 months
to make sure.
Yes, I was a part of that team.
We can't go out here.
No, understand you can't go out here and just promote things that ain't right. You can't do that.
Right. So for 3 years, we beat the streets. We kept holding town hall meetings virtually, live in person, having different walks of life come in, judges, former police officers, citizens, parents, all coming on board. And each year, the coalition kept growing and growing and growing until this year in 2022, we were able to get with another organization called Maryland Youth Justice Coalition. Bridge Maryland got involved with them. And we were able to pass the legislation that made sure that three things that got passed.
Yes, let's talk about those.
Yeah, 3 things. One, we made sure that parents would be informed the moment their child was in custodial interrogation, was be involved in custodial care by police. 2, we made sure that a lawyer was present before they even opened their mouth, which is key.
Yes,
right? Yes. Because sometimes we say things or we confess things that go to our detriment. And I'll talk about that in just a second. And then 3rd, we made sure that Miranda was written in a language which they could understand. Right.
Yes.
I'll tell you what we did. We backed off of that one in order for the bill to get passed. Instead, what we made sure was that Miranda would be explained to them by someone from the Office of Public Defenders to make sure that they knew what they were doing. And if they wanted to exercise their 5th Amendment right, they would. And just FYI, it's interesting. We're literally working on the vision statement for the organization, the Maryland Youth Justice Coalition, and I stated in the vision statement that we wanted to make sure that there were no negative confrontations between officers and young people. And literally, it says, according to reports, from what we understand, there is no such good confrontation with police officers. Literally, with young people, with people of color. That just aren't.
And I'm going to stand in the middle. I'm going to stand in the middle because 1 or 2 things, because I have 3 kings. I can see where that can be a challenge. 1, because 9 times out of 10, they're in a realm where they shouldn't be, involved in something that they shouldn't be. But it doesn't always have to be a negative. What happened to Officer Smiley?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Officer Smiley.
Officer Friendly.
Friendly. We had an Officer Smiley here in Harford County.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Let me tell you about him. We had an Officer Smiley here in Harford County who would pull us up and say, "Wait a minute. Like, I know you Shirley's child. I'm going to go tell your mother." Like, that's the, and we knew not to get combative because we didn't want him to tell mom. So we knew that. So what the beat cops that knew us by name. So it didn't always it does not always have to be a negative, but we also have to start training our children who are scared. My younger son is a 6 foot, almost 4 giant who already, as soon as he gets out the car, who's going to intimidate someone and he's the most friendliest, but they don't know that. So I want to stand in the middle of that, but it doesn't have to
just going
be.
with statistics.
I love it. And you know,
appreciate
you stand on statistics and I back everything when you do it, but I always throw out an opinion there. That's why this show is so great, because we have the right to have an opinion.
Absolutely.
But again, one of the things that I changed in my home as a parent is the negotiation and the talk, the speech, the language. And that came from you giving me a little white card that my kids carry
Right.
in their wallet on
Right.
what to do
Yeah.
when this situation arises.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just talking to my son about his mannerisms,
Mm-hmm.
talking about eye contact,
Mm-hmm.
talking about where his hands belong. One of the things I did right after you gave us the card, I went out and I bought him one of the things that go over his visor, so he wouldn't reach for anything.
There you go.
Everything stays above, so he wouldn't reach, because I remember sitting on that panel.
That's right.
And one of the police officers talked about the reach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never even thought about that.
Right.
So informative information. So
Yeah.
I've always loved the fact that you always listen to our opinions as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what next? What next?
So now the bill's been passed.
Yes. For those who did not watch that night, it was a late one, but we made it happen. It was late. I waited.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was one of the cheerleaders up waiting. So yeah.
It was. It's literally a landmark legislation that passed. I'm gonna tell you how. I literally had some defense attorneys out of Texas call me and says, "How did you get it done?"
Ha!
Literally from Texas. It was like 3 different.
I hope you let them know what God we serve first, and then went on about that, because that was work.
Absolutely.
But we had all the key players though.
Yeah.
I was surprised because you put every key, like you literally prayed and thought about this thing. Because as I got the phone call, it was real early in the morning that I got the phone call from him. He was like, "Hey, guess what? Hey, Doc, how you doing?" That was nothing but God in the midst of that, because you put the right team together. And everybody that I think about on the dream team was strategically placed there.
Oh, absolutely. Because you had like I said, you had people who were part of the PTA, people part of the community. You had law enforcement, you had lawyers, you had people who knew about mental illnesses. I mean, all the players were present, right? It was all about now putting all the pieces together and making sure the message got out. Even to the point where we had to put some pressure on legislators to say, you know what, now is the time. We can't keep waiting to get this.
That's right.
passed.
That's right.
But I tell you right now, it's interesting. Now the law has been passed, already we're hearing how they're trying to subvert the law.
Of course.
Already.
Of course.
Right.
And
these are reliable sources. I'm going to tell you some of the things they've been trying already. We've got some people in some counties, I ain't going to name the county, who the police officers are telling the citizens that I can't help you. Instead, call your representative and tell them to change the law.
Oh, wow.
Literally.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Already.
Already. We've got literally people saying they're now overcharging the children, so that because that was one of the bills we passed. We passed one bill that says that bans incarceration for low-level offenses such as misdemeanors or technical violations. So if you're banning it, I'll just charge you with
something higher, something higher,
so
more time.
The bill,
absolutely.
Right? I mean, so literally, what I want you to do as citizens and people who care is just simply make sure you get the message out that it's all about the children. Children, literally, the science says that the brain does not really develop in the stages of truly understanding your decision until you're somewhere into your 24 and 25 years age.
Yes.
24, 25, that you really don't know. That's why sometimes we take chances.
We do.
At ages when you go, well, why would they make a decision like that? Because the brain hasn't developed to that level.
To that level, that stage yet. Exactly.
Of what's going on.
Exactly.
And again, it's nothing on any individual person. There are some highly intelligent people under the age of 25. Yes. It's just
your granddaughter's one of them.
Amen.
She is one of them. I'm trying to tell you.
But it's just the science of it, just saying that sometimes that interpretation of consequence doesn't really develop until the age of 25. And so because of that, we have to always treat each situation as someone who simply may not understand all that's going to happen whenever you make that type of decision. And so what I want you to do again, I appreciate each and every of you for coming out tonight. I appreciate this audience.
Sure.
Just continue to get the word out that these are children. Matter of fact, our hashtag was care, not cages.
Wow, I love it.
That was our hashtag.
I love it.
Care, not cages.
Care, not cages.
We need to look at each individual, each situation on a case-by-case basis to make sure we're giving them the care that they need, so they're not placed in a cage where recidivism.
I was going to say, yes. I was going to say you revert back.
Here's a situation, right? The statistic says if you don't have a support system, whenever you've been placed in prison or in a jail, the odds of you going back into the system is almost guaranteed.
Absolutely.
It's almost
Absolutely.
guaranteed. So that's why we want to make sure that they never make it to that situation at all.
Yeah, and parents, I want you to know that the prison system is a business.
Yes,
it's a business.
It's a business.
And as you go out here and you patronize other businesses, allow the fact of this conversation to go into your homes, so that way you let your children know that there's some businesses we don't want anything from.
Hello.
And that's one of them.
That's good. That's
okay.
Good, that's
we
good.
have to let them know right up front
That's
that this is a business that we do not embark on.
Yeah.
This is a business that we don't even support. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like the corner store, we're gonna run and get a quick drink and come back out. No, that's not what we do.
No.
Another thing is when he spoke about the statistics, parents understand that it's not a strife against your parenting skills when your children get involved, because again, the detainment of a decision, 24 to 25 years old.
Yeah.
So I know I was just talking to Doc before we came on the show. I was trying to get my 24-year-old up out the house, and I was trying to get him to give me some quirks here, because the Captain Crunch is starting. Look, Captain Crunch almost $6 a box now, and he's always going through something like that. But I had to stop and think what you just said. I said, Doc, I want him to move out, but it maybe his decision processing is just not there yet. It's just not there yet. So I want parents to know, because sometimes when your children get into trouble, I had a son that got into trouble, and I took so much of the blame, but I had to stop and think. When I started reading statistics, when I started working with you, that's when I started understanding that this was nothing about me. It was nothing about any choices that I made. I've given every opportunity to have him in a good home, have him in structured ways. His mindset just had not developed yet. And now that he's an older man with his 2 kids, you could see where he's cognitively developing to where he knows. Yeah. So I want to speak to those women, and especially I want to say this: those single women that are out here raising kings and queens. Understand, as long as you're doing the best that you can, trouble doesn't last always, but it does come to find us sometimes. Yeah. But knowing the proper avenue for the criminal justice system is key. Absolutely. Because the reason why another reason why I joined your movement is because what happened to my brother years and years and years ago. And today's my mother's heavenly birthday. She's 77 today, heavenly. I'm sure she's sitting up there, cooking in God's kitchen right now. I'm sure there's some chicken going on right now. She didn't know. Yeah. She didn't know her rights. She didn't know his rights. Right. He was interrogated for numerous hours, not fed, threatened, and literally confessed to something that he did not do, because they promised him he would get to go home. That's it. They promised. That's it. So the ignorance, and I want to use that word. I want to use it because she was ignorant to the law. So nowadays we have a lot of good stages that we can go through to support these women. So if you're ignorant to the law and you just don't know, it's another reason why Dr. Tilghman's, what he's telling us tonight is so very important. And so for those who get upset about that word ignorant, she already defined it for you. It simply means you didn't know. You did not know. Don't look at it as a negative. No, it absolutely. Simply means you didn't know. You just didn't know. And I'm going to say this, right? We were ignorant because it took us 2 months to realize that you had not that right. Yeah. State of Maryland. And all, got it now, though. Got it now. But all these years, we're up and talking, we got rights. No, that did not exist. Yeah, don't believe Law and Order. That TV show. We talked about that. Remember, we talked about that in talked about that in one of our meetings. Like, wait a minute, we all waiting for the do. Like, we knew that, So they're TV shows for a reason. But we're talking about real life. Real life. And I think one of the ones that caught me was, remember the little boy that had to play money? Oh my God. He had play money. And they detained him. They detained him for play money. His mother did not know they detained him. He literally had play money. I think it was Monopoly money, I think she told us, or something like that. And he also had a mental illness. Yes, he did. He had a mental illness. And it was on record with the school. But they still treated him as if he was a criminal. And you have to understand the one of the things we've been talking about last month, we highlighted mental health awareness. That's another thing that we have to understand, that people now are dealing with a different strain of mental health. Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember my mom used to say, you ain't got nothing wrong with you. I'm just give you something, give you something to cry about.
There you go.
Okay. But nowadays that we have COVID has set in, people are having so many more mental health things. But then when they took and put these children on online learning and it destroyed their mental health, that's one of the statistics I've been following, like how children are just coping with that.
Yeah.
We had a lot of failures,
Yeah.
And the school system does that, no child left behind, but there are some children that need to be left behind.
Yeah, they do.
There are some, and you know what, I used to tell my son, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it another time.
No,
I don't
really,
think so.
No.
I don't think so. God is the God of second, third, fourth, fifth, all these chances. If he can give us all these chances,
Right.
then we need to look back, because sometimes just getting into someone's mental peace takes a while.
It does.
It takes a while, but our school system says, well, let's just pass them on. And then you wonder why. And then I won't wander long, but I was at Giant the other day and I said, nah, baby, your drawer gonna be short.
Give back the right change.
Give me back the right change. It took, but it held her line up. But I stand advocate for our juveniles and our young people. And she said, you know what? I said, listen, you got fingers in front of you. She said, we're not allowed to use cell phones, but then you have your fingers in front of you. And guess what else you have in front of you? And I held up the whole line. Them people was hot with me. I said, you got paper and you got pen. And I made her write that out. And she said, oh, it was only 54 cents. I said, but those 54 cents, you see these people, those 54 cents add up and then you're suspended.
Yeah.
So people out there, take time with our juveniles. Take time with our youth.
Yeah. Care not cages.
Care not cages. Care not cages.
Yeah.
What do you see in the future coming?
So those of you who may be local, because we talked about this.
We talked about this, and what's coming new to Harford County?
Yeah. So last year we piloted a program where we started a civics and chess mentoring program for young boys. And the way the program was designed was that we want to teach children how to strategize through chess in order to prepare them on how to deal with civics in their community.
That is awesome.
We want them to think 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, because
absolutely
that's how the enemy is doing. They're literally that they say there was a 50-year plan to get us where we are here today.
Oh, I believe it.
A 50-year plan to get us where we are today, and we are behind the curve. We cannot continue to play checkers one step at a time. We need to start thinking in advance, thinking ahead, so that we start building up leaders that we want instead of selling for the leaders we got.
Yes. That strategizing piece. I love it. I love it.
Strategize. You got to start thinking ahead about where do you want your future to be, and you got to start pouring into the young people and making sure that they're sitting at the table. One of the biggest things we're doing now with Maryland Youth Justice Coalition through Bridge Maryland is we're trying to hire, if you're interested, a youth coordinator, because we need them at the table bringing about young people so that they can bring this conversation into the room. The challenge is sometimes you can't get a child or a young person or a young adult into the room because they don't have the social capital.
Yes.
But we as older citizens can get them to the table because they have the answer. We just simply need to work together. And so it's all about making sure that young people and young adults are at the table making and creating the decisions to solve the challenges that they're facing.
Yes.
Just like even the trauma that you talked about a little while ago. These children are dealing with some traumatic situations that we have never seen before.
Oh, yeah.
We think we have, but we haven't.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and particularly this issue with social media, I don't even want to go down that road.
Oh, social media. Social media, it can be a blessing. It can be I don't like using the word curse, but it can be that generational foundation that we don't need, but we need. Does that make sense? Right. But just teaching them to learn, teaching them to use it productively.
Right.
Is one of the things.
So like, here's a good example. Social media is great for getting the message out, like we're getting out today.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Absolutely perfect for getting the message out. But when you're looking at your Facebook page, whether you got enough likes based upon what you posted, and that's determining your self-value, that ain't good.
That's not good. That's not good at all. It's not. And I come and I know I've been standing on my platform loud about this. Just here after the last school shooting, it has to go back. Learning has to start at home. the federal government and the state of Maryland made it really crazy. And I've kind of did a little bit of homework. I remember back in the early 70s when they introduced the Welfare Act program. And it made the parents go out and work, because I remember when I used to come home, my mama was home in the kitchen cooking, and I knew that I couldn't do too much, okay, without her knowing. But when they forced moms to go to work, and then they said, you know, if you don't work, you don't get these benefits and all this. And we became dependent on things like that. But then it took the structure of the home away. And then women can't have daddies that live there because then the income would be too much. So now the daddies are over here. The daddies say, well, we don't want to live with the mamas. So now, because of this and that and the third, where a lot of women didn't have a choice. So now what they've done is they destroyed the dynamics of what the house looks like, with the home. Because anybody can have a house, but not everybody has a home. And did you catch that? Not everybody has a home. So we allowed government to come in. Okay, and I'm talking about the African American families here, and some other families. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to stand on what I know, and that's what I know, and destroy. You know, they decided that we'll send the men over here to child support, and then we get a cut of that if we give you this, that, and the third. That's not how the family dynamics ran. Daddy went out. Daddy was the leader. Daddy was the sole provider. Mama stayed home. Mama knew her role. Mama knew that the washing, ironing, cooking, cleaning, and the wiping of the children's nose was her job. And for mamas to raise them up until they got to a certain age to where daddy would take control if it was a boy, and mama would keep the control if it was a girl. We are missing those pieces. And unfortunately, the way society is run, we may not ever be able to go back to that. So what do? Strategic planning.
You gotta be strategic, and you got to start understanding that until we understand the economics of our communities, you got to understand the economics of our communities. That's when we start bringing stuff together. Because keep in mind that African proverb still works. It takes a village to raise a child. Even the single mother that doesn't have the father in the home because of whatever situation it might not be, the community needs to still come together. The church needs to stand up and fill in the gaps where it can in order to make things happen. That's why mentoring programs and things of that nature are always vital, because you do have those single parents, but there are some men out there who can still step into the gap.
Absolutely.
There's some uncles, some grandparents who can stand in the gap to keep things going until we bring that structure.
Even some
back.
neighbors. I remember we had a neighbor that would always, Mr. Collins, he would always get us all together. We'd all play basketball. He was the ride to and fro, you know, all that good stuff. So I want to take a little step here, and I'm hoping you'll allow me to. Let's talk about those Black churches and what the dynamics look like now for our youth in the Black churches.
So part of that is, one, making sure they're involved in the ministry of the church, and they're not just a sidebar, right? A lot of times we like to relegate them just to Sunday school, but are they actually involved in the worship experience itself? Are they there on a day-to-day basis, engaged in whatever the activities that are going on in the church? Are they helping plan these activities? One of the things that we do at AIMS is that if a young person brings me an idea, I say, you know what? If it's biblically sound, we're gonna give it 90 days at a bare minimum. After 90 days, we'll reevaluate. But at a bare minimum, if a young person brings me an idea, for 90 days, it's gonna happen. If it's biblically sound, we're gonna move forward from there. Because last I checked, I think Scripture says something about a child shall lead them.
A child shall lead. That's there.
And so, if we begin to listen to them, and also to the young people, you need to still sit at the feet of the elders, because the elders got something to share. They still got something to share. It's all about community, right? It's all about community. And so if we continue to bring community back, particularly for the Black church, and we're listening to these young people, we can bring the church back to where it needs to be. But again, we have to understand the economics. We have to understand where our dollars are being spent, so that we continue to support Black businesses.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because we can save ourselves economically from this situation.
We don't need any help.
No.
We just need to be educated and informed.
And where we spend our money.
Absolutely.
We are a $1 trillion industry. Black folks, we are a $1 trillion industry.
Yes, sir. Yes,
it's
sir.
all about spending it in our community.
Absolutely.
It's about spending it among one another, right? Matter of fact, I got to tell this story.
Absolutely. Come on.
Hopefully,
Come
it got
with
too long. So I'm not satisfied with the swag that's coming out of my institution as I'm getting my doctorate, right?
Okay.
But I knew a cat who did. A brother that I've seen I've seen his product, I've seen the work. I said, you know what? I wonder if I can just get. But I still want the logo of the institution because it means something to me.
Absolutely.
I said, I wonder if there's a way I can get the logo legally and use it with this brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked it up, and it turns out there's what's called a limited use copyright agreement.
Okay.
Right. So I called the institution. I said, look, here's the situation. I want to use another vendor. I'm not feeling the swag that you all got. I want to use another vendor. Can I get a limited use copyright agreement to use the logo, the official logo? He says, well, let me get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks later, he sends me the agreement. I sign it. And now I'm using their logo with some of the information from mine using a black vendor.
Love it. Love it. Just because you took the extra time.
Take the time.
Take the time.
Take the time.
Take the time.
That's it.
Take the time. And I'm glad you stepped in that because I want to say this. As a black woman here in Harford County who's trying to do great things, I think I'm doing great things.
Amen. You are.
You have this thing, and I want to share this with you. It's really funny that you brought that up. I had someone come to my office and visit. We have some few offices available. We don't have very many, but we have some few offices available. And one of the young ladies was like, well, your price is just a little bit higher than I can go up Route 40 corridor and get. Okay, then by all means, please do so. But understand that we are the $1 trillion business, the black right here. We are. We contribute to that $1 trillion. Right. But if we don't support each other, by just taking you know what? But you know what I told her? Right. You're going to spend that extra $20 going up the corridor when you are 2.3 miles away. And she looked at me, she said, I didn't even think about it like that. Always as a business owner, always be informative of what you know. Right. Okay. Right. Gas ain't doing nothing no friendly to us. Okay. Nah. But I gave her the opportunity to take her business elsewhere. 2, I gave her the opportunity to inform her. It's going to take you some of that gas, that $20. You catch that? I'm just talking about the $20. Hello. It'll take that from you to go there. So we need to make sure that we're given options. Yeah. We're given options as people are coming to us for business. Right. You didn't like something, you jumped right into it and you got informative with it and you were able to change it. Change is a good thing. And if we don't start coming aboard with actual change, again, that $1 trillion it's going to dwindle. Right. Another thing that I've been going around talking to these older pastors. I mean, they as soon as they see me coming, they be like, oh, here she come, here come Doc. We have got to allow the opportunity for these young people to get in here and actively show us what change is. My son is big on these podcasts and big on, this social media. He's big on PR work. Some of the things that he's taught me and I've changed is so effective. But if we don't listen and give them the opportunity, like you said, to even try to formulate this thing in 90 days, guess what's going to happen? We're going to leave here real soon. Yeah, that's right. Because the God I serve said he's coming back real soon. Yeah. When we are gone and we're putting your granddaughter, who came up and interviewed me the day of your party, she said, I know you. I said, I know you too. She said, I'm going to interview you. I said, come on, sit beside me, interview me. Yeah. She knew that I was a person that she could interview. How? Was she 7? Yeah, 7. 7? I have a 7-year-old too. That's how I know she's 7. Yeah. But she remembered I was there at the church and what I did at the church. That's right. You know she was shouting while you was preaching, right? Yes, she was. She was my main. Listen, while I was preaching, she was one of my main connoisseurs out there. Yeah. But what I was saying to you is, she knew that in her mindset, and I gave her the opportunity, even though it wasn't her moment, it was yours. But Pop, that's good. We have to give these youth and these young people the moment. Yeah. Seize the moment with them. Yeah. And I'm hoping and praying that some of our older pastors will at least step aside for growth. Yeah. And it's okay if things been working in your church and they've been working well, God bless you. Yeah. Yeah. But at least have the opportunity to open up a door for another young person. That's right. We have so many. The Black churches are losing. I've been working with the Black churches for about 3 or 4 years, and I have seen a decline in the young men and the young women even wanting to come to church. Right. One of the things I did is I've been doing some research. And I go to these churches and I'm asking the young people, what is it that you want to see change? And let me tell you, I'm gonna blow your mind with this one.
All right.
They said, we don't understand King James. We want NIV.
Why is it kept? They don't even.
we want NIV.
We're using other sources
right?
too.
Other sources.
We're using other sources.
But you have so many older churches that won't do that. So literally, I've been running this poll because I want to bring something big. You know, when I say I'm bringing something big, I'm bringing something big. I want to give the informative information to the churches on why we're losing. Because some people just need to see it on paper. Some people need it. And that was the biggest, when I did the poll, and I think we polled about 250 young people. And they're not of color, not all of them are color, but young people. And that was one of the main things one of the main reasons why they said that they don't want to be in church, because they don't understand what's being said.
So I'm giving somebody a free shout out. It's a comedian out by the name of Marcus D. Wiley.
Okay.
Marcus D. Wiley. He has a YouTube video called Bathtubs and Bibles. Marcus does an absolutely fabulous job. He gives 5 reasons why people are maybe leaving the church. And he was talking to a black context, so he's pretty much talking to the black church. And the 5 reasons are actually quite good. I don't even want to ruin it for you. It's again, he's a comedian. He's a PK. It's absolutely phenomenal. But the best one I remember, it's the last one he gives. He says, "I don't know where I fit in." That's one of the main reasons people aren't coming to the black church. They don't know where they fit in. We got to find.
We have to find out.
We have to find a way.
We have to. And make
room.
Make room. But it all ties back into the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Not only this the fight for the criminal justice system, but the fight for the black family, the fight. And again, some of the terminology we use were the black males. Not saying we leaving females out. But the black males, because we have to go back to who's supposed to lead the house.
Amen.
We have to go back to that.
Amen.
Don't get me wrong. I put, and my son gets on me all the time. You put your pants on the same way I do. Yes. But my pants is supposed to be a skirt, and I'm going to always remind you of that.
Bless your heart.
Okay. I'm big on that. I'm big on what it looks like. I'm big on letting my sons know exactly where they're supposed, and they're supposed to start at home. They're supposed to lead from home. So if you have that black father who gets up and says, "I don't care what's going on. I don't care about football. Sunday's for church," and they run that ship like that. I was one of those women who said Sunday was for church, okay, because I didn't have that other structure piece. But we have to bring it back to what the foundation is supposed to look like. We talked about economics. If we see daddy and we see where daddy spends his money, 9 times out of 10, son gonna spend his money right where dad. Now we got these local barbershops, and I remember my brother used to go to the same barbershop because my stepfather went to that barbershop.
There it is.
Okay, so we know we're showing our children, but then when we get out here in the world and we get to all these rags and riches, and we start seeing all those things, and then you hey, Pastor, I'm gonna be honest with you now, you got some of them homeboys and them homegirl hookups that ain't right. Okay, and then we start spending our money elsewhere, you know, because we feel as though we can't trust this person. We have to go back to what the foundation looks like as far as us as the African American person, and trust is a problem.
It is. It is.
But
at the end of the day, and I appreciate that trust piece. At the end of the day, sometimes we may not trust one another as Black Americans, but at the end of the day, I'd rather trust you
absolutely
than someone that don't look like me.
Absolutely. All day, every day.
Just me.
All day, every day. Ain't too many, and ain't a good word. Yes, I'm a professor, but I'm gonna use it. Sometimes ain't is a bad word, but good preaching. There ain't too many things that, matter of fact, I can't even think of anything that I've never agreed with you on. And that is one of those things. That is one of those things that you have to trust somebody in our, in I'm gonna throw this in our community, because there's a lot of people that have done wrong, but there's a lot of people that are doing right. Right. We just have to be supportive. And I think everybody that supported the bill.
Amen.
Everybody that supported the bill,
Amen.
everybody that shared.
Amen.
I remember one time I put something on my Facebook page and I said, listen, I dare you all to share. And it was like bing, 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 bing. There's other ways that we can get these messages across just by sharing.
So I'm gonna tell you this one thing. So whenever we would finish up a round, because it was like different stages we had to accomplish. And when I knew we were at a stage where we were in the process of the bill being going to the next level, I would always tell the group, because it was a secular group for the most part. Matter of fact, I was the only clergy person in the group.
Yes, you were.
I said, well, after we've all done our leg work, it's now time for me to do my knee work.
Absolutely.
I told
Absolutely.
folks, with every social media play, it's time to pray. We move this to the next level. We've done all we can do with our hands and feet. It's now time to put on our knees and pray.
Go prostrate before the Lord and let him work it out. And we went before the Lord many, many, many times, and He's worked it out. We've seen great things. We're seeing now now that you've done the work. Now we're not going to give up, because you just listed 5 or 6 things where people, now we got the police officer saying something different and trying to do a thing. We're going to have that happen. We're going to have that happen. But being educated and being informed is one of the reasons why I brought him on this evening. So that way you can be educated and informed. And if there's other questions that you may have, if you want to just join us in the fight. We welcome it. He had a bus. What was it? Charter bus. I mean, to go down to Annapolis, and there still may be some of those things that we need to do. But there's always something about numbers. Numbers don't lie. People do.
That's it. Organized people and organized money is the definition of power.
There you go. And that's one thing that you taught me. And it was something, I can be honest, that was not in my back forefront. And that was the first time that I've ever heard it used that way. And I can tell you when I heard you use it, we were at the Hartford Community College, and it was about 10 of us. It was cold as I don't know what. You had us parking down that parking lot, knowing I had them heels on. My feet was killing me, but I came on anyway. I said, you will make us walk all the way up. See, I remember that for your party. I parked out back. But I had never heard that used that way. And I remember writing it down, and I missed a few words, and I said, he'll say it again. And that day on the bus, you told us that again. And it's always been in my forefront as a Black small business owner that, and people get it twisted about wealth and what it really truly means.
Right.
And what it really truly means, the fundamental of it. Because being educational is a wealth. Knowing your knowledge, knowing what you're worth, that brings the financial worth.
It does. It really does.
Because if you don't know your worth,
you
nothing else. You can try every avenue. And like I said, I've been out here in this business world for quite a minute, and I can tell you that the first thing that they have to do in everything is trust and believe in who you serve.
That's it.
The God that you serve. That's the first thing. Because if He has it for you. And I remember you saying that too about this bill. We've done all we can. You didn't tell us to stand. You told us now it's time to pray. Now it's time to pray. I love Donnie. Don't get me wrong, but and we stood long enough because we were there for a long time. So that goes in factor with the Black family, with the Black businesses, with the Black economics, with everything that we have to play. We have so many more things that we have to tackle. But starting this one, I never listen. I didn't doubt you. I wasn't a part of the doubt, but I didn't see it. I just want to be honest, come to fruition. And when it did, I remember sending you a text message early that morning saying, I literally cried. And I'm not a big person to show that type of side, but I literally cried because I believed, I had faith, but it was just so many things. Every time we got one place and we would see all those other faces. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got intimidated a couple of times, and I'm strong. But to see that now it's really there. The bill is there. One of the things I want to ask you is there other ways that we can spread the word? Because I remember when we first started it, so many people wanted to hear and know more about it. Has that stopped? Has that volume stopped with people wanting to know more about the bill?
So it's not so much that they don't want to know more, but I think we have to continue to be intentional about making sure that they know that it's now exists, right? And so we'll continue to keep spreading the word. I'll continue to get on every platform I can.
I was going to ask you too about that. And I'm posing this in front of my 1.k followers, so he can't get away from us. What about holding another town
Absolutely.
town meeting now that the COVID has relaxed a little bit?
Absolutely.
Still optional mask and all that good stuff. Maybe now telling them, bringing that same panel back and explaining
Yeah.
what we have in front of us now,
Right.
opening it up to, I don't mind opening up any of my businesses. We
Okay.
don't always have to use the business that we did. We can move it around because that business is not of us.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
We caught that.
It is.
I am now willing to give you that platform of holding it here at the Business Suites at Brass Mill, because again, I think that a lot of people were following us because we were making so much noise.
Yeah.
Now we want to make the celebrative noise that we made it.
Yeah.
We've made it.
Yeah.
Not only that, I think people need to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
People need to hear it.
One thing we need to do is we need to celebrate our successes better.
Absolutely.
We need to celebrate our successes better.
Don't say that, because I didn't celebrate when I got my PhD. I didn't celebrate when I got my MD. You know what? I thought quiet is kept, but that's not always true. Because we celebrated God all the time.
I can't remember her name, but she's the one who's quoted for it. Although sometimes they gave it to Mandela, but she says, "Why shrink from celebrating your value? Because when you do, you give other people the ability to shine."
I believe that. I believe a lot of people have went on to get their doctors because because I pushed, I pulled, and I said, well, let me go out here and buy me a car, and I thought that would be enough to bring the noise. But one of the things that I'm going to work better, more effective, is celebrating me.
Yeah.
And even in stepping into I just got a new accolade. I was messing with you today, so I'm now certified board counselor, Christian counselor. I am now board certified with a license and all that good stuff. So I said, you know what? One of the things that I decided to do 8 years ago when my mom passed was I decided to do as much for God's people as I possibly could, and I started seeing God's people fall in the mental realm of what. Because a lot of people think if they go behind the church walls, they're safe, but that's not true. Church is for sinners.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I don't care how good they look on Sunday morning. I don't care, big hats, nice ties. That's for sinners.
Right.
But within that, I figured if I could bring something better to those individuals that are struggling in the church, because struggle is something that they don't want to talk about. But one thing we don't have is, you look around the churches, we don't have board certified Christian counselors. Somebody that can tell you what the 7 signs of grief are and how to go through them. Somebody that can tell you, is you're having some issues at home with husband and wife. There are going to be times and there are going to be issues. How do we work through those? When we have a child who's being I don't want to use the word disobedient, because we just talked about sometimes it takes them till they're 24. But I got a can't get right. I had a can't get right. When we stop, we're not going to always have that time to get to the pastor, but maybe we can get to a board certified Christian counselor. So that was something that I saw the need for. And the need that I saw it for were for the youth. Because it's hard to change. A leopard don't change his spot. So it's hard to change a grown person's mind and opinion. But if I can grab a hold of you at 12, 13 and change your life around and change your mindset on what things are supposed to look like, then that's the call. Again, walking into my call of ministry, I have not forgotten. Sometimes life drags you in 100 different ways, and I talk to you about that.
We take detours.
We take detours. I'm going to get back on my journey, and again, I'm still so excited because someone just viewed my preaching segment with you. I just saw it, like, I'll get a ping when somebody views it, and I'm like, people are still doing that, still viewing that, and it was an opportunity that I will never forget. It's an opportunity that made me grow. It's an opportunity that I didn't get, and sometimes you have to take opportunities, and they're not always going to come from the people that you think. Let's catch this: the people that you think are going to support you. But when people see you out there physically get out there and do the work, and they stand behind you, those are the people we call the I am people. Okay. And you don't have to have a whole bunch of those. You don't have to have a whole bunch of them. You just got to have a few of them to put you where you need to be. And you've been that for us here in Harford County. I can't highlight you enough. I cannot highlight you enough. But what I want to do right now, I want you guys, he's going to throw out some ways to jump aboard, to join us in the fight, because the fight's not over. Just because we won, we run around.
We did. Yeah, we did.
And as you see, they've already started adding
Already.
to what it looks like to fight the back end of, you know, sometimes bullies, you know, they don't like to fight you. They don't fight you face to face.
No,
You know,
no.
even though we do have God on our side, we still live in this mortal world called man. And there's somewhere in the Bible where they say we're not supposed to follow man anyway.
No.
But we tend to do that because we're out here living this thing called life. Yeah. So we need to find out how. So one thing you needed was a mentor.
Yeah, I need some mentors.
We need some mentors.
Yeah, because the program, the way we designed it, we need like we're like doing 4-to-1, four children to one mentor, so that as we're teaching them chess, you got someone that can be around it. And unfortunately, at the current situation, I can only take up to 8. Only have
and
2.
Where is that being housed at?
At Edgewood Elementary School.
Edgewood Elementary, good old alumni. I'm not going to tell y'all when because that'll tell my age. But I was at Edgewood Elementary School. That's one of the schools that I grew up in. So how can they get in touch with you to be a mentor? Because we're going to push that.
Okay, so you can touch me through either the church's website, which is www.amesumc.org. You can also get to me through Bridge Maryland, which is www.bridgemd.org. And of course, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all those other sites. You just look up my name, Marlon, Marlon Tilghman, Tilghman, unique way of spelling it. And you can find
I butchered it a couple of times. I really did. I butchered it because I was like, wow, what a unique spelling. And once I got it, I got it though. Once I got it, I got it. And we're gonna have our podcast manager drop those links also for you. And I'm going, now that I know that you need it, I'm definitely, I'm going to get on the bullhorn now that I know that you need it. Are there any other criteria that these gentlemen or women need?
So we will do a background check on it because we just do.
The school has to as well. Yeah,
because in the school system it is free, but once that's done, because we do it through school, I think it's a social. They do it for free through not social work. But
the Harford County Board of Education should do it. Yeah,
right.
The Harford County Board of Education. I just spoke with a beautiful young lady because I'm going to be volunteering in the Aberdeen location, Aberdeen Middle, and she was very informative. So you just have to get on there, go to the Harford County Board of Education website, click on staff, and then drop under toolbar should be volunteerism, and then you follow that by suit. So I wanted to give that little bit tidbit of information. So what day do they usually meet over there?
So right now we're meeting on Tuesdays. From usually the kids come, they eat we provide lunch to them from 3 to 3:30. Then they play gym from 3:30 to maybe around 4, and then from 4 to 5 is the formal part of the mentor.
So they would need to be there for the whole duration, or
actually, if you get there by 3:30, that's fine. From 3:30 to 4 to 5 is an hour and a half, right? Is great
to make a difference. An hour and a half to make a difference. I'm gonna have to go now.
Right.
Now listen.
And if we got enough of them, right? We got enough mentors. You want to come every week.
That's right. That's right. You can pick. Can they pick their weeks that they want to come, or is it just volunteerism if they show up?
So it's better for us to know how many we have on a regular basis. That way we'll know how many kids we can take in for that day. And we're trying to get around 12. Right? So we need up to at least 2 more.
Okay, so we're gonna work on that. Right now, as Know Your Purpose, we are going to Know Your Purpose people. We at 1.K followers. I Know Your Purpose people. We need this. We need this to happen. We need 4 to. I mean, I challenge 8 because we can do a rotation.
There you go.
So I challenge 8. My son, matter of fact, I need to get with him because he was a chess master. Oh, Saquon was a chess master. He probably kept that little as kept, but he was played many rounds. So those are some of the things that we need to do. Awesome. Is there any other projects that you're working on?
Again, we'll make sure we get this word out about the Criminal Justice Child Interrogation Protection Act. I keep keeping you all informed, and I am working on my first book.
Yes, I was going to milk that out of you.
I'm working on my first book. It's based on my dissertation about developing a legacy giving program for the Black church, which talks about economics, and that if we can work through the economics in the church, I truly believe we can see the civil rights movement rekindled in a way that's different than it has ever been before.
I'm excited about your book. I heard you first talk about it at your birthday party, and I was like,
Yeah.
who, I'm tooting my horn. So as he's talking about books, I want to let you know that I have literally written a line of children's books that will be coming out in August.
All right. Now.
And it's great because it's about these two little twins
Okay.
that ran rapid here in Harford County.
Okay.
So it's a historical read from a Black child's perspective.
Okay.
And it starts way down in the projects.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that here in Harford County, we used to have a projects. And I am one of those prodigies from the project. So this book will be sold on Amazon. I just got a contract with Barnes & Noble. Okay. So we're stepping big. And what we're going to do is we're going to tour all the schools here in Harford County. We're going to set up a book tour. We're going to go and we're going to read this book. So this book starts out and your granddaughter will definitely get a signed, because that way she can interview me. She will get a signed edition. And the thing about it is we're going to read these books. It starts from pre-K. We got pre-K to maybe second grade. And we're going to leave these books with the school system. But the school system have this scholastic type thing, right? We want to change that around too. We want to change that. So I'm stepping in to change that because we have a lot of great authors. And why can't we sell our books in the school system? Why do we have to choose? There we go, that economic thing, right? But Amazon and Barnes & Noble picked up really quick, but we can't get into our own school systems. Another problem that we have to start thinking about looking at, you know what I mean? But I'm good enough to come around and read the book, and I'm going to leave the book with a couple of kids. We're going to gift some books. One of the things, the Pratt Library just reached out to me, and I was happy about that because to get my book down there, of course, sometimes you have to give away things. In order to get the recognition that you may need. That's just one of the great things that's coming out of Docs. We will have a magazine coming out. And a matter of fact, I just debuted in Voyage of Baltimore. So I'm out here. I'm getting ready to go to Atlanta to debut. So I'm out here doing the work.
I know that.
Work is hard.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not scared of hard work, but the one thing that I want people to understand that out of the hard work, always understand that we are for the people.
That's it.
We are for the people. That has never changed in me. A lot of Democrats that say, "Hey, Doc, where you been?" Sometimes when you're working for the people, again, you don't have to be seen, but you can still be heard.
That's it.
Okay, so God took me from that platform because He said, "I got more work for you to do," and I wouldn't have been available to help you with yours. And I'm helping a couple of other young people get started in their businesses. So just making sure that you're available, and whatever you do, be consistent with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Be consistent with it. So it's been great. Any other projects besides? When will that book be ready?
I'm working on it now. As a matter of fact, I'm willing down that towards some pages down to maybe 100. So it's gonna be a little minute.
Because I'm trying to tell you, it'd be great Christmas gifts.
Yeah, that would be
awesome Christmas gifts.
That'd be an awesome goal. I'm working on it.
Good. I won't. He won't throw a date out there to his viewers, but trust me, once the book is written, we will bring him back on Know Your Purpose, and we will talk about the book. Again, make sure you're volunteering. Make sure you're getting involved with something that's meaningful and purposeful to you. Because if you get involved in something that means something to you, you will work harder and you will do more. A lot of people are out here doing so-called work. We want to do work. Yeah. It's a difference. Yeah, it's a difference.
I'm gonna let you have the last word, but I do.
Now you go ahead and take that.
Share this with you. You don't want to be busy. You want to be effective, because busy means being under Satan's yoke.
What? Say that again one more time, because I want people to hear it.
You don't want to be busy. You want to be effective, because being busy means being under Satan's yoke.
Okay, that was the greatest nugget. I love it. I'm always learning new things from this man right here. I love it because I'm going to stop saying I'm busy. I'm going to stop putting my phone on busy. And when he leaves here, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put it on my wall. Because that's one of my favorite lines. I'm really busy. I don't have the time. I'm effective. We're going to leave you with that. Thanks so much for watching. All his information. Dr. Tilghman.
Yes, Doc.
I'm telling you, I am so excited to use that. Listen, I'm not even called. I said pastor earlier because I like picking with him, but it's doctor. And you make sure. One of the things that I learned about being a doctor, make sure other people are giving you that accolade because you worked for it.
Yeah.
I literally went in. I said it was gonna be the last thing, but I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story. I went in 3 years ago to get my paycheck. The paycheck wasn't there. Ooh. I said, what happened here? I went to my boss. I tapped on my boss's door. I said, did you know that my pay? He said, yeah, I knew that your pay didn't go in. I knew. I said, was it, y'all let me go or something? He said, because you still running around here letting people call you Stacy. So the board told me that I need to recognize you as Dr. Stacy Venable. And since you decided you're going to continue to run around as just Stacy and not use those accolades, why should we pay you for the accolade that you're supposed to be providing for us? So when you start messing with my coins, I start falling in line. So when people see me now, I literally, if they say, you know, Stacy Venable, I correct them, because the ink on that degree, I'm just finishing up paying for, so now it belongs to me. It took me a little minute to pay for that, right? But you have to start making people understand that you have a purpose and you are created with that purpose and that you did that work. So I no longer allow people just to say Stacy to me. Now, I've dropped the Venable and said, hey, everybody just calls me Doc. I'm okay with that. I'm because they butcher my last name. Listen, they butcher it. It's okay. But I figured you can't butcher Doc. But still make them give you the accolade, because I'm telling you, those midnights, ooh, they were something. Many a night. I'm telling you, too many to name for me. But Dr. Tilghman, it has been a pleasure. It's been a joy to have you. We are going to bring him back for that book. All right. And hopefully, guys, I can get to you and tell you when he's going to plan the next town hall meeting. It was a great meeting. It was so effective. And now I think people just need to know, so we can continue to share the word about the great things that we need to celebrate. And this bill needs to be celebrated. It was a lot of hard work. Anything else you want to close out with? I'm good, Doc. You good? I'm good. All right. So tonight, thank you guys for tuning in. He didn't think that he could go an hour. When you're just having great conversation with someone that cares about you the way we care about each other, we can go on and on and on, but we won't spend any more of your time. So this is Dr. Stacy Venable signing off on Know Your Purpose. I'll see you guys again next Friday. Have a wonderful weekend.